And move on. Remember, this job requires physical and mental energy. Not environment.
Well, Rufai, many things to discuss this morning.
Packed up in one.
Yes.
Okay, first, let me start with the Peter Obi one. The presidency of Nigeria is a place for hard work. Nigeria needs a boots on the ground, roll up his sleeves CEO that can address the myriad of challenges we have.
Finally, my people, as it stand now, Rufai sef don't join this matter. They don't talk say the way where Nigeria be now, say Nigeria need person where they very strong, where they mentally and physically fit, where go fit stand head shoulder to shoulder with the challenges wey this country get. On top of that one, you can see they tell Buhari say all the time they go, they follow Tinubu up and down. They make some kind of promises. They talk say Nigeria saying they leave legacy. Say voting for Tinubu is completing his legacy. So maybe Buhari really explain what he mean by legacy, which legacy he really they leave, make them know. When I hear the kind of message he sign, give all the presidential candidates, and the message he sign, give Buhari himself. When I feel no, say this country, we don't dey point to be say now we go take our hand, decide the future. Everybody remain share them. Hear the kind of message where this guy they pass across.
Presidential candidate Peter Obi says Nigeria's presidential seat is too important to be used as a retirement home for older politicians. Obi said this at a town hall meeting with members of the Anambra State Traditional Rulers Council at the government house in Oka, the state capital. The Labour Party flag bearer says whoever emerges as Nigeria's president in 2023 must be equipped with the requisite knowledge to solve the current challenges facing the country. He cautioned against electing the wrong person as president.
Not productive. That is why your dollar is not working, because your dollar reserve is a function of your rate is a function of reserve. Reserve is a function of export. Because you're not producing anything, you're not doing anything, and you cannot employ level. We have support production that will drive supervision, drive processing, drive export, and will change Nigeria. I need everybody. Let's make it work. We need a character we can get. We want somebody who is competent. We want somebody who have the capacity. We want somebody who is committed. We want somebody with compassion. And move on. Remember, this job requires physical and mental energy. Not environment.
Well, Rufai, many things to discuss this morning.
Packed up in one.
Yes.
Okay, first, let me start with the Peter Obi one. The presidency of Nigeria is a place for hard work. Nigeria needs a boots on the ground, roll up his sleeves CEO that can address the myriad of challenges we have. Debt, lack of confidence in the country because of insecurity, lack of confidence in the economy of the country. All our external Eurobond borrowing partners are beginning to look at our bonds as junk status now. You hear the analysts here yesterday say, while other countries are borrowing by less than 10%, we are borrowing a little over 10%. It is harder for us to go external borrowing now. So there's been an all-time low in confidence as regards the economy and security, with mammoth inflation rate, rising debts, and all of that. So Nigeria needs a roll-up-the-sleeve CEO, not a place for any retirement. And we need a leader in 2023 that can work, because he will need to think critically and take some very hard decisions. Some decisions that will not favor his friends. Top people in the echelons of this country have friends. I was telling somebody this morning when they asked me, what is political will? I said, political will is the capacity to be able to tell your friends when they are caught with their hands in the cookie jar that I love you as a friend, but the law will take its course. How many people can tell that to their friends? That's the kind of leader we'll need in 2023. We're paying too much subsidies, there's a high recurrent expenditure, there's a lot of things going on in government and governance. Secondly, I'll move to the other story on the National Assembly not being a rubber stamp. Spare me. No pun intended. Prince Harry's book. Spare me. The National Assembly has been the most rubber stamp I have seen in recent times. In the budget alone, There are up to 5 breaches of the law. Nothing has been said by the National Assembly. The law says you can't securitize Ways and Means. This same National Assembly, after listening to the budget speech, said they will consider it. Probably they might have to pass in the interests of the president. It's whatever the president wants, he gets. And that's why when you look back, you missed out robust National Assembly. Lots of people say there was a cantankerous relationship, but there was robust interplay of ideas headed by Bukola Saraki. Now, it's free for all. And the National Assembly should not forget that they're supposed to be there representing us, the people.
That's right.
It is our views and aims and objectives that should be frontal. And the argument should win, but it has always been about the sentiments. So when they say they are not rubber stamp, they are not rubber stamp. Who approved all the debts? Who approved all the external borrowings? They were quick to approve everything without second guessing and say this is not going to be in the interest of the country. And those debts now have come home to roost. We've got a big, huge 77 trillion gaping hole. And the National Assembly is very sanguine about them not being rubber stamped. That's, you see, there are facts on ground. And one fact I've put on the ground, you could challenge me on the fact, is 5 different laws were breached in this budget alone. Securitization of Ways and Means. The fact that you can't go beyond the threshold of 5% to your GDP for your deficits. We've breached that. Many other things like that. Finance Act wasn't passed. This same National Assembly that says not a rubber stamp didn't open room for public hearing, hurriedly rushed the Finance Act to the president. Have public hearings be conducted at the will of the people. This same National Assembly, you remember what they did with electronic voting? Until the people had to voice their concerns, didn't most of their members go ahead and lie that they had no internet in their homes? One even lied so blatantly that he has no internet in his home. And I'm sure you remember the other day that we talked to Johnson Chukwu. He's from the same village with that National Assembly senator that claimed there was no internet in his home. And there's 4G.
Maybe in his house.
4G in his village. So we have seen the National Assembly act like a rubber stamp. Anything the president wants, he gets. That's why he's put it towards them again. And time will tell if they will help securitize that. For President Buhari saying his legacies, voting Bola Ahmed Tinubu, yeah, he can campaign for Bola Ahmed Tinubu as his candidate. But I would like us to empirically x-ray his legacies. He says he's built infrastructure. Give it to him. Infrastructure stock to GDP rose from 20% to 35%. But the question a lot of people ask is what's been the after effect on the lives of the people? We have insecurity. We thank God 7 people have been released from the Edo debacle, but people are still in the bush. 2 train attacks in the space of a year on the same infrastructure because infrastructure was found wanting on that rail line to Kaduna. So we've had that. And then when you check the infrastructure across board, vis-a-vis the economic fecundity or the economic vitality of the people, it's a faux pas. Over 20% inflation rate. Massive levels of unemployment. For over 2 years now, the National Bureau of Statistics can't print out unemployment numbers. Do you know what that means? Cost of living on the increase. They will make arguments of Russia and Ukraine. Inflation too, they will make arguments of Europe. But the counter argument to that is about the fact that when you look at it critically, Ayo, the border closure policy triggered inflation because inflation was about 11%. After the border was closed, inflation started trending upwards. So those are the legacies. So are these the legacies we'd like to continue? The president also says, you know, no corruption. Yes. Like he says, he might not hold any house abroad. No corruption has been found against him. Give it to him, he's an upright man. But the question is, was corruption found in his administration? Yes. The Attorney General is one. We've had many cases with EFCC by people that have been turned to a nolle prosecute. So these are the facts on ground. And when we talk, let's talk empirically.
Absolutely. I mean, you couldn't have said it any better. But let me just start with, from where you stopped with regards to the president promising or campaigning on the strength of his legacy. And I'm glad, obviously, I believe that his spokespeople or his team definitely watched the show, because you have called for this. You said that if the president is going to campaign with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, then he should speak about his legacy. He should speak on the strength of what he has done. And the three main areas he said he was going to speak on with regards to his legacy when he was speaking was in security, education, and the economy. And we just broken down the economy, double-digit inflation. We're going to be having a conversation with Rotus later on, and we're going to be analyzing, or just the analysis of the budget with KPMG yesterday, dissecting that even further this morning. But let's look at security, because he boldly made the claim at the banquet in his honor, in Yobe State, in Damaturu, Yobe State, that they had degraded Boko Haram, that he had fulfilled his 2015 campaign. Recall that his administration inherited a very challenging security situation in Nigeria. We were plagued with Boko Haram, and a number of Nigerians believed his campaign promises because he's a retired general, or he's a former general. So they thought, okay, we need to tackle security. It is, it has far-reaching consequences in the economy, quality of lives of people, and so they thought, this is the change that we need. But how has he fared since he came into power? According to statistics from the Nigeria Security Tracker, which is collated by the Council on Foreign Relations, since May 2015 when he took over, to May 2021 last year, 54,948 people have been killed by violent acts. And they've said themselves that this is a very conservative number. In fact, what you can use to judge this is how desensitized we are to news of killings. Yes. So we see another headline saying that 7 people have been killed. Only 7 people, which is it is despicable, to say the least. And so in terms of security on which he's campaigning on, he hasn't quite done well. In fact, what they said is that, yes, Boko Haram, as he mentioned, has been degraded in the northeast, and some people have been able to go back to their way of life, but they've inherited other siblings. So we have banditry on the rise, we have kidnapping on the rise, we have the herdsmen-farmer clashes, we have security and violent acts on a day-to-day basis. In fact, they've become more brazen. They're attacking train lines now. They are moving to the south, away from the northeast and northwest. They're already in the south. We had the Edo incident. We just talked about it. Today we're going to be speaking about what's happened in Kaduna yesterday, over the weekend. And he's bold to say that he has tackled security. So it's either one or two things. Either the president is far removed from the reality of Nigerians, thereby he's not aware of what is going on under his administration, or he's being fed lies by his people. Because how can we talk about security challenges on almost a daily basis, and then you come out boldly to say that you have been able to tackle Boko Haram? Is he the president of the Northeast alone? Is the security situation in Nigeria only about Boko Haram? Beyond Boko Haram, there are other things that are Nigerians on a daily basis, which he hasn't responded to, in the way that Nigerians thought he was going to. You talk about the economy, I won't belabor that point. And we've talked about this a number of times. The strength of the economy. Education. Have we not just survived an 8-month strike, ASU strike? We have an increasing number of out-of-school children. So which education legacy is the president talking about? So when we hear things like this on campaign grounds, fair enough, is this just political rhetorics, what you expect them to say? But when he comes out boldly to say authoritatively that he has done A, B, C, and unfortunately the facts prove otherwise, then it is difficult to believe the APC when they come out to say that they want to strengthen the legacy on which the current president has built. I'll end it there because of our time. But I mean, like Mr. Peter Obi of the Labour Party said, I'm just comment very briefly on that. Rightly said, he's reiterating what he said in Ado Ekiti last week. Last week, Thursday, during his campaign rally, he said the same thing, that the presidency is not a retirement home for over 70s. And I want to add to it, the Senate is not a retirement home for governors. Because what we've seen and has almost become the norm is that after their 4-year or 8-year tenure, they then go on to the Senate and then just pass time there until it's time to maybe, check out or finally retire from politics. And at the end of the day, the power lies in the hands of the people. The only reason why they would get back, or at least the chief reason, because the president has promised us a free, fair, and credible election, is what we do with our votes. We can no longer be on the sidelines or be apathetic to elections in Nigeria. When it is a retirement home because they come soliciting your votes and you go to the ballot and you cast your vote based on ethnicity, or I know this person, I like this person, and then we complain for the next 4 years or for the next 8 years, you can see that we cannot afford to do this at the next election. We must evaluate the candidate's ability to run a nation. We said we don't need a leader, we need a CEO. We need someone that can run the economy. That is what we're looking forward to. And so we hope that Nigerians will do this at the next election.
That Nigerian people can understand. I hope that they can understand, because the biggest problem we have is not even about the people we call the politicians alone. Let me not call them leaders. They don't deserve to be called one. They are not even our major problem. We ourselves, we have bulk of the problems too. Are we ready to make a change in the system? Are we ready to take a new turn? Are we ready to desist from this one? If you see some comments that I get, some messages I receive from people on daily basis, some people who are bloodly tribalistic, if you hear the kind of thing they send to me, and if you even see the kind of comment they make, they've turned politics to something that has to do with family. It has to be that this person is coming from my compound. It has to be him that will win. The other guy, they asked him the other day, he was saying, no, Tinubu, I'll vote for Tinubu. Why? Because Tinubu is a Yoruba and I'm a Yoruba. Obi is Igbo. I have to vote for a Yoruba. This week, if we continue like this, the lives of the poor masses will never get better. Because there is something that needs to be very clarified here. You even the person you are pushing forward, or the person that is your relative that you are supporting, that you are insisting you must vote for, might not be the person that mean well for you. He might not be the best person for the job, but because you are now making it compulsory for yourself that you have to vote the person that comes from your side, you will mistakenly vote out the person who is supposed to fix your problem, the person who is supposed to care about you. I don't know why, like, if you go to some companies today, you find out that a company that is owned by an Igbo man is being overheaded by a Yoruba man. Yes, because they look out for companies are very fragile. And just like a country, yes, the situation of Nigeria today is like a company that is about to fold. And we need a very intelligent and competent person, somebody who can deliver, who can work, who is ready to work hard and put things in order. That's what we need. We don't need somebody who comes from our place. It doesn't necessarily have to. Bill Gates is not the CEO of Microsoft today. United Kingdom today, the Prime Minister of United Kingdom today is an Indian. The former one that left is not even a UK, a Brit. Boris Johnson is a talk. So these are people who look out for competence. They don't look out for a citizen, an indigene rather. They don't look out for indigenes. They look out for competent hands who can move us forward. Since this Indian guy took over UK Prime Ministry, there has not been all the complaints everywhere running up and down, inflation and the rest of that. The news has piped low because a competent hand is handling the matter. Come on, Nigerians. We should have gone beyond this level where we subject ourselves to the decisions of this one and my brother. It has to be him. If we continue like this, I bet it with you, Nigeria will never come out of what we are into. Rather, it will continue to get worse. I'm telling you the fact. Because the situation of this country is very simple to solve. Very, very simple. I must put it to you. Yes. It's actually one of the simplest in the world to solve. How simple it is it? You put in the right person, he does the right thing at the right time, and things fall into place. And the country starts working. Is it electricity you want to talk about? Is it security? Is it corruption you want to talk about? These are just a very simple things to solve. It just have to do with the person at the top. Once we have the right person at the top, corruption will die. Corruption is forgotten. And then we have the right person at the top, electricity is solved. Inflation, within 2-3 years, we come out of inflation permanently. We become self-sufficient in food production and even start doing exports. Is it protecting the oil? Protecting our oil revenue? It will be solved. It's that simple. It's just a matter of somebody having a definite decision. Not putting people who will favor friends, just like Rufai said, who will consider friends and friends and friends. I must not go further because you've heard it all from Rufai and Ayo there. Kudos, guy. Well done. Please make sure you vote wisely in this election, and do not give out your voters card information to anybody. No matter what they promise or no matter what they tell you, no matter how intimidating they come to you, do not give your voters card information to anybody. They could even use it to commit crimes on your name. So please guard your voters card and voters information jealously. And if you go to pick up your voters card and they try to copy some information from it, challenge them and ask them, what for? This information are coming from your database. What are you copying it for? Challenge them. Most of them could be agents from political parties. Challenge them. Okay?